What's up guys, Sal here. So 1 year ago, Huawei introduced its own operating system called HarmonyOS, but at that time it was only limited to IoT devices. Today at their annual developer conference, Huawei announced the second version of its HarmonyOS operating system, which will be made for smartphones. Huawei mentioned that a Huawei smartphone running HarmonyOS will be launched next year. Huawei will make a beta version of the HarmonyOS 2.0 SDK available to developers today, but for the time being it will only support smartwatches, cars and TVs. SDK of HarmonyOS for smartphones will be released in December this year, and a smartphone running this operating system will be available for consumers sometime next year. The good thing about this operating system is that it has cross-platform functionality, which means that developers don't have to make different apps for TVs or smartwatches. They only need to create one app which will work across different platforms. Also, just like Android, HarmonyOS will be an open source project. Huawei also shared that its HMS app ecosystem has now reached 96,000 apps and is supported by 1.8 million developers. Pretty good so far. No company has succeeded in building an operating system to compete with Android and iOS. In 2010, Microsoft introduced Windows Phone to compete with Android and iOS, but it died. Samsung created Tizen, hoping to eventually replace Android and lessen its dependence on Google. Now it's mostly only used on smartwatches. Countless others have come and gone. Symbian, WebOS, and Firefox OS have failed to gain much traction. Even Google itself is experimenting with an OS called Fuchsia that will ostensibly bring Android and Chrome OS together. So far, nothing has materialized there either. Part of the reason this is so difficult is because of third-party software. Any phone that can't use Instagram or any smart TV that can't play Netflix won't be as useful to customers as a device that can. On the other hand, developers don't want to build their apps for devices that customers aren't buying. But the story is totally different with Huawei. Currently, Google isn't allowed to bring its proprietary app stores and services to China. This presents a problem for Western developers who can't break into the Chinese market, and it gives Huawei an opportunity. The domestic China market is big enough that if Huawei can get some users on board through work with domestic developers, maybe that offers enough incentive for Western firms to want to try to develop for their platforms. Huawei already commands the biggest share of the Chinese smartphone market. They sold 240 million smartphones last year, out of which almost 200 million are from China alone, and all of that with absolutely zero support from Google. So it's not too much of a stretch to imagine the company could leverage its power to bring developers on board and create a global rival that can stand up to Google and Apple. It may not be as successful in the West since there won't be any Google apps in it, but China alone is big enough to make it a viable third contender. But then again, Huawei has an even bigger problem at hand right now. They're banned from making current chips, and they can't ask for other chips from different chip making companies either because they all use US technology. So by the time people start using HarmonyOS, Huawei will be out of chips to make new phones. So they need to figure this out before thinking about rivaling Google and Apple on the operating system front. Anyway, let me know what do you think about this down in the comments, and as always, I'll see you tomorrow. Peace out.